Are you into sci-fi? How about engine building and hand management style games? Well, let's check out Terraforming Mars. Now, in Terraforming Mars, you control a corporation, you buy and play cards that you pull from the deck. Time is measured in generations, and in each generation, you get an action phase where you can play one or two actions or pass. The game board has tracks for oxygen, temperature, generations, and terraforming rating. This is all where you can place greenery tiles, ocean tiles, and city tiles. The game ends when all of the thresholds are met for oxygen, oceans, and temperature. The winner is the player with the most victory points at the end of the game. VPs come from your terraforming rating, tiles on the game board, won awards, claimed milestones, and VPs on cards you have played. Now, Terraforming Mars will easily make most people's top 10 board games, and Board Game Geek would have to agree as they put it at 6 overall on their tier list. Now, for me personally, it's easily in my top 5 due to amazing game mechanics and of course the replayability factor. Not to mention multiple expansions over the years that have made the gameplay even better. Everything from the card art to fun interactions you have each turn keeps you coming back for more. Between all of the different expansions of the game, I'm easily over 20 games played, and that's saying a lot as these games can easily go for 3 to 4 hour playtimes. Now, speaking of playtimes, one issue I can see some people having with Terraforming Mars is that the game time can get pretty long, especially if you have a competitive group of friends. Now, the Prelude expansion does help with game time overall by kickstarting every player's in-game engine. This probably shaves off about 30 minutes to an hour at most times. The Colonies expansion can also help expedite the overall game time as well, as it gives players just more options for enhancing their engine or just ways to terraform Mars faster. Another issue is that for a beginner hopping into a game like this, if you aren't familiar with engine building games, you may get lost or end up spreading yourself just too thin. But as far as complexity on in-game objectives, everything is pretty straightforward. Now, when it comes to strategy and tips, there's a couple different ways we can go with this. Due to the in-game thresholds that have to be met, it can make strategy vary from game to game. Now, what I mean by that is that you can't force any particular strategy too hard in the beginning, as some cards have certain terraforming requirements. Just to name a few examples, 3 oceans need to be placed, oxygen under 7%, or temp, negative 14 degrees Celsius or warmer. Now, with that in mind, I've had quite a bit of success focusing on building my plants engine. Because it's difficult to get cards that net you plant upgrades early on, if you do happen to find one early, it will start to set you apart from others without players really even noticing. Now, keep in mind, every tree placed on the game board nets you 1 VP, and as you place tiles down, you are inherently getting additional perks based off the tile you choose. Like this example, I would net 1 card. Also, if you can get lucky by placing city tiles adjacent to your tree clusters, it really starts to stack up VP. Sometimes the corporation you receive can kind of choose your path for you, which narrows your decision making down as you want to min-max. In this example, I get the choice of Ecoline or Robinson Industries. Per my previous tip, I would choose Ecoline for the obvious tree production, but if I was forced to go Robinson, it would allow me to choose from multiple engine building routes, leaving the gameplay a bit more flexible. Another tip is to really watch what your opponents are doing when it comes to milestones. Players tend to forget about milestones and focus so much on their engine. If you can capitalize on this, you may find yourself blocking 2 of the 5, which is a big in-game swing. Always be on the lookout for card synergies similar to the example of the card Olympus Conference, which gives additional card draw by just playing science tags. That rolls into another card like Mass Converter, which requires 5 science tags, and you get the gist. Now, a few last tips that usually can go without saying, but really focus on additional terraforming perks, which are just free resources. And also try to get your production level up early so you get additional income at the start of each generation, which is extremely helpful. Well, I hope you enjoyed my review and a few strategy tips for Terraforming Mars. As always, thanks for watching.